Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity, a show about weirdos. With your hosts, John Fahey, Aaron Peter, and Matt Brousseau.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity. It's a show about weirdos. Doggone it. I am your host, John Francis Fahey. Joining me, as ever, is Matt Gates' best pal, Aaron Joseph Pita.
Yeah, Congressman Matt Gates.
Yeah, good guy.
Good, solid guy.
Good guy.
Serving his country.
Yeah.
Wait, are you Nestor?
Nestor, barely know her. Yeah, solid guy.
You liked all his Venmo payments.
I liked all of them. Yeah. I actually had to float him some money a couple times.
For tuition.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Pretty Woman tickets.
Oh, God.
He was taking hookers to Pretty Woman.
The
Broadway show.
He's also taking them to... Yeah, that's right.
That's what happens when AI answers your where to take date.
Where to take girl I'm paying sex to.
Yeah, exactly.
/ irony.
Yeah. And now over here we've got... who's another sex guy?
Oh, a sex guy?
Yeah.
You talking about Jeff Epstein, the financier?
Financier, Jeff Epstein's...
No, I'm just his assistant.
Fixer?
Just his assistant.
Yeah, I'm his lawn guy.
It's Little St. James himself. Matt Brousseau.
Little St. James. Hi.
How are you, Matt?
Good, how are you?
And joining us, we have the beautiful Laura Crawford, returning champion.
Adult age woman.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Barely.
I just had a birthday.
Oh, happy
Yeah, that's
Right.
birthday.
Happy birthday, Laura.
Yeah, just turned 38, so that's exciting.
Nice.
No, it's
No,
not.
it's not. No, I can tell you. It's
That's a good one.
It's a good one. It's good. It's like turning 18.
It's just like that.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds exciting, actually.
Yeah, we're all gonna get fucked by Cormac McCarthy now.
Awesome.
Yeah. That sounds cool.
Has he been on a lot of big podcasts?
It's like is it an old men joke?
Well, yeah. Well, if you say his name,
Yeah.
it's an old
We got to get
name.
him on the podcast. Ask him when the road's gonna start.
Yeah. Pretty soon.
I think so.
Yeah.
There'll be a new HBO series.
Oh, cool.
Folks, join us on the Patreon. Always, still $5 a month through 2024. We got to catch up on the
Tournament.
the Piss playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I gotta give you a disc. We have an episode to upload.
That's true.
Before I forget, I'm gonna do that.
Disc? You mixed it to CD?
No. It's a
Floppy.
it's a floppy.
Nice.
Laura, you told me about what you're doing today, but I don't really remember. But I
That's
trust
okay.
you implicitly.
Of course you do. I love that. Before we dive into the biographical details about this person, the big important question is, do you guys believe in the concept of reincarnation?
Oh, good question.
Like, do you think that people have souls and those souls carry on after they die and they get reborn into new bodies?
No, there's just not enough.
Yeah, there's too many bodies, not enough souls. Maybe that's why people suck.
Yeah.
Maybe we get divvied up.
Oh, so I'm half Lou Gehrig?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
No. Like somebody else is a third.
Your arm's going numb, so maybe.
I'm half the luckiest man in the world.
Like in what is the Epic of Gilgamesh when he says he's like a third man and a third god or something.
yeah.
Half man, half amazing.
But
Bit by a spider.
But that idea that, like the us that exists now has existed before, been died, and will go on, presumably, and the sun blows up. According to a study published by the Pew Research Center in 2021, 33% of adult Americans agree with the statement people will be born again in this world. So believing that the soul goes to heaven or hell after death, it's more popular than reincarnation, but still 33% is a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's too
just
many.
America.
Yeah.
And,
I think they're just people that say yes to questions.
I don't even know what it means.
Yeah.
Sounds nice. But also it's a gender thing. Like women believe in it more than men.
No
Like
shit.
38% of women believe in it in astrology.
Was crystals on that survey as well?
Yeah.
There was many crystals asked.
Yeah. But then also like young people are more likely to believe in reincarnation, but less likely to believe in heaven or hell.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like about 38% believe in reincarnation if you're under 50.
Yeah,
but
because
also,
you want to be superstitious, but still woke.
Yeah. It's true.
It's also a weird thing where, like, so in Christianity, you're not supposed to have reincarnation, but like a lot of Christians, like 38% of Catholics, 26% Protestants, say they believe in reincarnation. And then, like, more Black Protestants believe it than white people, and more Hispanic Catholics believe it than white Catholics. It's like a very strange breakdown about how people believe in this. So it's crazy. But if you look at it globally also, so we have like 1.2 billion Hindus worldwide, 520 million Buddhists, 25 to 30 million Sikhs. You have people who believe in Yoruba traditions. That's like 25 million people. There are 10 million Jains. The Druze people have like 800,000, 1 million people. If you add this all up worldwide, about 1,786,000,000 people do believe in reincarnation.
Right. Which is 1 in 7?
7, yeah.
Like 1
Well,
in 7.
they know.
They know?
They
figured it
have
out.
to, you know?
Yeah, they probably do know something.
They're going
about
like,
this.
man, I feel like I'm living high school
Well, yeah,
history
I mean,
class.
listen, all these people, how great are the lives that they live right now in the countries that they're in?
Yeah.
So you kind of have to believe, like, next time it's going to be better than this. I'm fucking bathing in a
It could
river
be.
of shit.
Or it could have been worse than this, and this is what I'm getting now.
Oh,
So with that being said, the subject of the episode is Dorothy Eady. She was a lady who was a 20th century archaeologist and expert on ancient Egypt. And other sources call her an antiques caretaker and folklorist. Either way,
Are we going to talk about pyramids?
what?
Are we going to talk about the pyramids?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the pyramids a ton.
yes.
So either way, she maintained that she was the reincarnation of a temple priestess who had lived in Egypt some 3,000 years ago.
and that's why
Neat.
she can take whatever she wants there.
Yeah, it's all my shit anyway.
That's
at my
mine.
shit.
That's mine. King Tut. I know him.
Where's my cat?
So her life has been documented in several publications, TV programs, YouTube episodes with varied amounts of, detail and reliability. You find these titles, they say things like the reincarnated Egyptian, proof of reincarnation,
Proof.
and dead girl comes to life, back to life, no secrets she shouldn't.
Anyway, what's up?
So I pulled from a number of sources, most of them the big one was encyclopedia.com. I like this. It includes one sentence that sums her up. It says, even by the flexible standards of British eccentricity, Dorothy Eady was extremely eccentric. Extremely being italicized.
How did this one get over? We missed this one.
Yeah.
Thank you,
so
Laura.
she's,
Yeah, thanks, Laura.
Very eccentric. She was born Dorothy Louise Eady on January 16th, 1904 in middle-class southeast London suburb of Blackheath, England. The Edys were considered lower middle-class family. They were of Irish descent.
Oh, God.
Reincarnated.
You know how they are. Her father, Reuben Ernest Eady, worked as a master tailor. Very tired. Not a master baker. Her mother, Caroline, was a housewife, and so she was an only child, and they raised her, in a little coastal town near London. And this was the Edwardian era, it's fun, turn of the century time, but just after Jack the Ripper and all that nonsense.
Yeah. all that
Scamp.
all that fooling around.
Goof them up.
All that shenanigans down in
Jack the
where the
Ripping
hell
a
he
good
was.
joke.
They were like, that was a while. Your parents were talking about it? Like, remember when that was going on?
Oh, man.
That was crazy.
Whitechapel?
A lot of laughs at the supermarket.
Yeah. According to Dorothy Eady, when she was only 3 years old, her life took a radical left turn, changed really dramatically when she took a tumble down a flight of stairs in her home.
Oh, she hit her head, started believing that she was a fucking Egypt.
That will do it.
Believing she was in Egypt?
Yeah.
She was in Egypt. Yep.
She thinks she's in Egypt now.
Send her there.
She's a hieroglyph. She was knocked unconscious, and her parents called a family physician to attend to her. So the doctor looks at her, and he declares her dead.
Holy shit.
Oh,
Apparently, the doctor left at that time to go fill out her death certificate.
gets paid by the death.
Yeah. Did. And,
She's like, you're only going to wish I was dead, pal. Wait to hear all the bullshit I'm about to come up with.
This is her reincarnation now? This one?
This is
She's the same person.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah, it's 1907. And when he returned an hour later to prepare her body for the funeral home, he was shocked to find her not only conscious, but sitting up in her bed playing, almost like nothing happened.
Good doctor.
So at that point, he made the wise choice to upgrade her status from dead to alive.
Smart.
Yeah.
She's got to print out a whole new piece of paper.
Yeah, he's got to tie it to her toe.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're really interested in the topic of people mistakenly being declared dead throughout history, there's a lot of sad,
Yes.
scary
Yes.
information to uncover.
Oh, yeah.
You might have seen things like they have the little bell.
Yep.
installed
Dead ringers.
on
Yeah,
top
yeah,
of the coffin. They did in the movie The Nun. They had all those bells. It's fun.
That was that
horror
during like a
movie.
plague time thing or something? Because like it became
know.
commonplace enough for people to get buried alive and then figuring it out.
But
For them
that,
to
like lead in lead in their cups. Like there was a lot of lead poisoning. And people would just go like comatose.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Be down and out.
Good lead.
Like
Yeah.
that's where I work in the graveyard shift and midnight dead ringers comes from.
Oh shit!
Is that you'd have somebody work the graveyard shift and they'd sit and make sure. Also wakes are the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, maybe they'll come back. Sometimes they did.
Yeah. And there'll be a party going on.
Yeah.
What I meant. Hey, you're here.
Hey, yeah.
Went from
Put on
sad to
another
fun.
round.
Is that why they call dead people late?
It
Yeah.
could be. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. That'd be
just
fun.
late.
The late great John Fee.
Yeah. So you got to think that going from being declared dead to alive, it's a pretty amazing turn of events.
Big deal.
Yeah.
You got to really think she was probably never really dead. It's
Yep.
probably just in case the doctor not able to find a pulse, manually jumping to conclusions. But there are some people who hear that story and do believe that she was dead.
Right.
I don't know why they think that.
And
more
maybe
fun.
maybe another spirit came into her is definitely going to be thrown around
Yeah.
that sort of shit.
Yeah.
He was checking
Yeah.
her pulse
So,
rectally.
They really think that she came back to life, resurrected from death, like Lazarus or Jesus or Jean Grey and Tony Stark.
Oh.
Tony Stark.
He was dead, right? Isn't he dead in the movie?
Spoiler alert. Yeah, he died fucking bringing half the universe back.
Sorry.
no.
I thought people realized that.
She didn't
Shit.
come back though.
So she seemed to have no major medical issues from the fall, which is kind of incredible. Things could have gone way worse for a kid knocking their head into the 19th century stairs. I don't know. Have you guys? I had an accident that was really bad when I was really little. Did you ever have a bad accident where you?
I started an accident. They dropped me on my head right away. It was the first thing that happened to me.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, they fucking the nurse tried to do a one-hander on my feet. I slipped out. My mother never knew, and I hit the floor. My dad was just like, "Is everything cool?" with his face, and the nurse was like, "Oh, seems all right."
Oh my god.
Oh, who
Yeah.
were you before that?
My brother was getting choked with his umbilical cord, and I just got dropped right away.
Are
Like
you in Egypt?
I am in Egypt. Yeah. No,
like an elbow.
my dad never told my mother because my dad was like, "I think your mom would have killed the woman."
Yeah. yeah.
Yeah.
My boy,
Yeah, you'd think there'd be like a wastebasket or something to catch you in.
or a trampoline.
Yeah. something
Babies
soft.
are bouncy. I was fine.
Yeah,
Who gives a
man,
shit?
dude. I can tell you, these kids fucking hit their head all the time.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
Oh, they're bonking all over the
Yeah,
joint.
nothing but bonks.
Bonk.
Yeah, that's what I say. Did you know that?
No.
I say bonk all the time.
Oh, we usually say when the cats knock shit over.
Oh, no.
Oh, this cat's bonking everything.
It's fucking
Yeah,
hideous.
bonker.
When I was like 3 or 4, I fell out of a big tree house that was very high up.
Ooh, shit.
It was way too high to be safe. But so this accident is this big major turning point in her life. She was not the same little girl post tumbling down the stairs. She started exhibiting strange behaviors. She started talking to her parents about having reoccurring dreams. She dreamt about living in a huge columned building. Sometimes she would break down in tears, crying, asking to go to that place in her dreams. And she repeat many times, "I want to go home."
Oh, wow.
And I don't have kids. I don't work with kids, so my understanding of what to expect of a 3-year-old behavior-wise is a little shaky. According to WebMD, around 3 to 4 years old, kids start asking a lot of questions.
Right.
Too many.
Things like, why is the sky blue? Why can birds fly?
Am I in Egypt?
I'm just asking questions.
I thought this was interesting. Under cognitive milestones, it says that 3 to 4 year olds should be able to pretend and fantasize more creatively and remember parts of a story.
Uh-huh.
Kind of interesting. So if she's developing mentally by that age, she should be able to make up stories and, be able to remember the parts to tell other people. But she also starts speaking in a weird accent, which nobody can really place. So it sounds like she might have developed foreign accent syndrome, which is a real medical condition.
Yep.
You
it's
talked
a
about it
real
on the
thing.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
A
happens.
lady, she talk like this, but she from England.
Yeah, she developed a Chinese
But she
accent.
also doesn't know Chinese.
Yeah,
She only knows how to sound racist.
Yeah, exactly.
which is so funny. That
So good.
Deep down in there.
Because she really doesn't want to. She knows it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, it's so embarrassing for me all the time.
Yeah, so usually it's caused by damage to the frontal lobe of the brain on the left side, like strokes, traumatic brain injuries, like falling down the stairs, brain aneurysms, brain cancer, dementia. And it totally could have happened when she fell down the stairs. And there's also functional foreign accent syndrome, which they said might happen alongside symptoms of mental health conditions like psychosis, speaking in accent as part of hallucinations or delusions, or it can be brought about by mania. but it's very rare. There's only like 20 confirmed cases in the 1900s that people really talk about and believe were true foreign accent syndrome.
There's at least one guy that fucking hit his head and then he could do like crazy math.
Oh yes,
like Unabomber math.
Yeah,
and he like, came up with theorems and stuff. Like,
Unabomber math, like shitting in a jar.
Well, you just like see math. He viewed the math and everything. Like you could see like the angles of the,
like that
the
meme.
buildings.
Just like the meme or the motion picture Lucy with Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, yeah, like that. Yeah, or people have been able to play the piano after hitting their head.
Whoa, that's awesome.
That
is
incredibly
cool.
and developing new musical talents and stuff like that.
Took Bill Murray about 500 years to learn how to do that in Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Would you do it like if you could learn piano and math, but then you had to talk in a bad Asian accent?
This next number go out to you.
This is a blues riff in B. Try and keep up and watch me for the changes.
This is an A word in soft A.
Oh my God.
I don't know. She said it.
She is racist.
Yeah, she is racist.
It totally is. So this way of speaking confused people outside of her family, of course, and they thought this kid is fucking insane. Even when she was very little, and still people were like, "This is disturbing." And so, as an adult, she would say that she realized her home was Egypt when she was around that age, and she first saw illustrations of ancient Egypt. I almost said ancient Jesus. Ancient Egypt in Arthur Mue's book, The Children's Encyclopedia. Her parents dealing with this, they're very puzzled. They don't know how to deal with their daughter. When she's 4 years old in 1908, her parents take her to visit the British Museum in London.
Oh boy!
You might hear the British Museum, that name, and think, but hang on, doesn't Britain have a shitload of museums? Yes, they do. They have 2,500. One museum calling itself the British Museum has some top-notch shit. But
it's really all the best shit they stole in one place.
Yeah. Yes, you might know. Since they are founded in 1753, they're probably the world's most famous museums. It has 94 galleries.
Yeah.
It's enormous. I've been to it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, me too.
They have the Rosetta Stone, which, unlocks the ancient Egyptian.
Teaches you Spanish.
Yeah. Duolingo. Hearing the name of the British Museum, the controversies, they have a lot of stolen items, the Parthenon marbles, which might be called the Elgin marbles. So Greece is like, give us our fucking marbles back. But they're still deadlocked.
You lost your marbles, fuckers.
You have no marbles.
And but they were looking into giving back these statues that they stole from the African country of Benin, the Benin Browsins. They looted them in the 1800s. So Dorothy and her parents, the Eadys, they go to the British Museum, and one source says that she started freaking out when she saw a photograph in the New Kingdom Temple exhibits room. She sees a photograph of a temple, and she says, "There is my home, but where are the trees? Where are the gardens?" The temple in the photo was for Seti I, the father of Ramses the Great.
Oh.
And she claimed that she had known that pharaoh personally.
Huh.
And so she started running around the halls in the ancient Egyptian rooms like a psycho and saying that she was finally amongst her peoples. So another account puts it like this. Once they reached the Egyptian galleries, she tore herself her mother's hand and ran around wildly. She kissed the feet of the ancient statues. And told her parents this was her home.
She wasn't cursed by that?
No. She was totally into it. It's really hot. Probably some old mold or something.
Chicks into feet.
God,
The
can you
banana
imagine her
stone.
fucking parents? Her dad's like, "Come on, you silly twat!"
I'll inject a ripper on you.
Just
buy
yanks
a
her off the floor.
Shut your mouth.
We gotta go back outside and breathe soot.
I said Egypt.
Yeah, no wonder she wants another home.
I know, for reals.
Yeah, good call.
All right. But after that first visit, like any chance she got, she wanted to go back to this museum whenever her parents would take her. When she was 10, she actually did meet an Egyptologist named E.A. Wallace Budge at the British Museum. And this guy wanted to meet a little girl for some reason.
He wanted to meet a little girl, yes.
Yeah, he was
Weird.
like, ooh, this little girl, she's so enthusiastic about ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
He encouraged her to read more on the subject and to study the hieroglyphs. And he actually tutored her a little bit himself, and he claims that she was amazed at the rapid mastery of the hieroglyphs. But this is according to her. So she's like, this guy was amazed.
He couldn't believe it.
He said
Couldn't
I was
believe it.
cool.
Yeah.
He said he'd never seen anything like it.
She told him that she wasn't learning it for the first time. She was remembering it over again. So between the ages of 10 and 12, she spent as much time at this museum as she possibly could. And so this also extended beyond just the family. Her parents were taking her to church and Sunday school, and Dorothy started comparing Christianity to the ancient heathen Egyptian religion, which was quite the scandal. The Sunday school teacher asked the parents, please keep her home. Don't take her anymore. Don't bring her to Sunday school
Too many
anymore.
other ideas.
Yeah, we don't want to hear about that. So World War I was going on. That was the biggest issue going down at the time. And she narrowly escaped being at her dance school when it got bombed in a bombing raid. She had
Because
been
he
there.
was talking about the Egyptian dance, and they said,
Yeah,
you got to keep her home. Keep her home.
Yeah, she was doing that. She was going to tin cut.
She was doing that walk like an Egyptian.
Walk
Yeah.
like an Egyptian. That's what I'm thinking of. And so for safety, her parents were like, you should go live on your grandmother's farm in Sussex. And she does farm work for her grandmother, but she also goes to the public library and reads about ancient Egypt.
How dare she?
Loves it. When she's a little older, she liked visiting a Roman Catholic church and hearing the Catholic Mass because it reminded her of the old religion. And then a priest at that church came out to their house and complained to her about how inappropriate these comparisons were and told her to stop coming to Mass.
Oh my
Keep her
God.
at home. Don't bring that child around
She's
here.
not wrong.
And
Makes
she
it sound
also she got expelled from a girls' school in Dulwich after she refused to sing a hymn that called on the Lord to curse the swart Egyptians.
Wow.
I mean, whoa, strong him.
Yeah, to my knowledge,
Anything but the
Dorothy was
French?
kind of right on that point because I don't think that modern white Christians continue to sing about cursing dark-skinned Egyptians.
Yeah, I thought they were let out of Egypt. Isn't that the whole thing?
the Jews?
Yeah.
Oh, they made their way out. They weren't let out. They fucking forced their way, you know? But with the slaughtering of firstborns,
Yeah.
plagues, etc.
Now, they
ran
did have
across
the,
the
they
Red
had the
Sea.
seas parted for 'em.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Cheat.
Yeah.
Fucking
If you can't leave
code.
after that, come on.
Life hack.
Yeah.
Get God to part the sea.
oh god, I was watching a cartoon recently. Someone did like you're the one soldier who like gets caught up with the Jews. He managed to like escape with them, and he has to like just hide with once and forever.
Now we know how Moses felt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dorothy kept journals throughout her life. These documents were kept secret until after her death. And she wrote about dreams all the time. She had vivid and recurring dreams about her life at the temple at Abydos, where she said that she had lived when she saw that picture, Seti, the first temple.
Search
Right.
for extraterrestrial intelligence.
Yes, that's what it is. As she got a little older, the content of her dreams also matured.
Oh, she was a sex priestess.
Yes.
Yeah.
In some of those dreams, she was visited by the spirit of Pharaoh Seti I. When she was 14 years old, she had a sexual experience with the Pharaoh.
Uh-oh.
In her dreams, he ravished her. She noted
not ravaged.
ravished.
Yes.
She noticed that she noted that at age 14, she had been ravished by a mummy.
Oh,
Okay.
my
I guess
Now we're
his
talking.
astral body, his Akh, would visit her at night with increasing frequency over the years and tore
smells so bad.
open her nightgown and all that.
Damn.
Whoa.
The mummy.
Yeah.
Karloff.
Yeah.
Boy, she must have been hard to date.
Yeah.
She's into mummies.
Yeah.
She's a weird
Dead
shit.
guys. Lisa
How do you know if it's the
Frankenstein.
mummy or the invisible man?
Yeah.
You got to peel away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
yeah,
probably
yeah.
the stench.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
At least he knows how to wrap it up.
Oh, yeah. True. Good point. Good point.
Horrible. So people who have read her Dorothy's diary say that she wrote about the Pharaoh in a matter-of-fact way, like, His Majesty drops in for a moment but couldn't stay. He was hosting a banquet in Amenti, heaven. So she's still studying about ancient Egypt as much as she can on her own, and her weird behavior about religion, Egypt, all these nightmares, she was sleepwalking, and her parents committed her to sanitariums on several occasions during her later teens. Because it was just too much. It was way too disruptive. So medical practitioners attempted to understand and treat her condition, but doesn't seem to have been very successful. She was more than ever committed to believing that she had lived in ancient Egypt in a past life, and ancient Egypt would totally take over the focus of her whole life as an adult. Some sources say that she dropped out of school before she was 16. Some say she graduated from the equivalent of high school when she was 16. This would be around 1920.
Okay.
But her dad's just a tailor. Her mom's a housewife. They can't really afford to send her to a
Master
university.
Taylor.
Yeah.
Also, does that sound like a good use of money to send your crazy daughter to a college?
I mean, back then, just to be a waste of money sending your daughter to college.
Well, just getting her out of there is
Maybe
probably,
it's worth the price of tuition.
Then, I mean, they would have to tailor every class towards her. They go, this is actually Egyptian math.
This is Egyptian business account.
Oh, man. In the show Peep Show, the guy's writing the book. It's about business tactics of the pharaohs.
Don't pay people.
Pay them in beer.
Yeah.
So she really did her best to learn on her own, as she had been doing. She visited the museum frequently. She expanded her knowledge of hieroglyphs. At this point, she's probably one of the people who know the most about hieroglyphs who's not an archaeologist. Like, it's a pretty small pool of people. So her father, Reuben, had started out as a master tailor, but he saw great potential in the booming motion picture industry in Britain. And he invested in one large theater in Plymouth, which became enormously successful. So he was able to start traveling around the country for business, and he would bring Dorothy along with him. And she got to visit new museums and archaeological sites, places like Stonehenge. Really broadened her worldview. And then, like, this change in her family's fortunes allowed her to attend Plymouth Art School part-time. She learned to draw professionally at school, which was a skill that would become, in handy in her later work. And the whole family lived together in Plymouth, and she was busy collecting expensive Egyptian antiques. She liked doing that too, even though she didn't really have a lot of money.
This is a drawing I made of a mummy's dick.
And a cat pawing at it. She joined a theater group as an actor and even performed, a couple productions at her father's theater. Occasionally, the group put on this one play that was based on the story of Osiris and Isis.
Penis gets cut off, thrown in the ocean, resurrection, etc.
Yep.
Yeah. Classic tale.
So she played Isis, of course. She probably would murder anyone else to try to be Isis.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Wait, she's like, in a past life, I played Isis.
I was Isis. I'm Isis.
In my high school play.
So she sang the lamentation based on the translation. Sing we Osiris, dead, lament the fallen head. The light has left the world is gray. Blah, blah, blah. Sing we Osiris passed away. Yeah, it's fun. And I was like, I don't want to read the whole thing, actually. And so around this time, she says that the spirit of Seti I visited her at night in the form of an entity which she called Hora. Like Horus and Ra. Sort of.
Cool.
And very slowly, over a period of 12 months, Hora dictated to Dorothy the story of her previous life, got real down to specifics. And she wrote the story down, and it took about 70 pages of cursive hieroglyphic text. She wrote it down in hieroglyphics.
Okay. Wow. That's actually incredibly impressive.
Very impressive. Yeah.
70 pages of this. So she says that she'd been born to humble origins and lived during the reign of Seti I, 1290 BC to 1279 BC. Her name was Bentreshyt, or Bentreshite, which means harp of joy. Her father was a soldier and her mother was a vegetable seller.
I thought it was going that too.
Oh, she fell down the stairs too. Must run in the family.
It's like they could keep people in vegetative state back then.
They're very advanced
Seller.
culture, John.
She's lucky she wasn't resurrected as her.
I know.
Yeah, fuck.
Oh,
She was, oh man, who's the lady who was in the coma?
Terry Schiavo.
Terry Schiavo. She's resurrecting the Terry Schiavo. When she was 3 years old, her mother, the vegetable seller, died though.
Oh no.
And her father couldn't afford to care for her alone, and he placed her in the temple of Komel Sultan, the temple near Abydos. There she was provided for and raised to be a temple priestess. She was 12 years old when the high priest asked her if she wanted to go out and make her way in the world, or if she wanted to stay in the temple and become a consecrated virgin. As a young girl, she didn't have much of a choice, and she couldn't really, understand the implications of a lifelong decision when she's 12 years old. She takes the vows, and then in the ages of 12 to 14, she learned her role in the annual drama of Osiris's passion and resurrection. The thing with the penis cut off and he comes back to
all
life.
that good stuff.
Much like Jesus. This was said to be a role that could only be performed by a virgin priestess, consecrated to Isis. Not the group. ISIS.
More theater.
Not into
More
ISIS.
theater from ISIS.
Yeah.
Not on video.
No one getting thrown off a roof. One day, the young pharaoh, the Seti, visited the temple, and he spoke to Bentreshite. She had become a stunningly beautiful young woman.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
She's not ugly in her past life, of course. Why would she?
Who is?
Their connection was intense and immediate. They became lovers. Eating the uncooked goose is what she said. She said that's an ancient Egyptian term.
For slobbing on the knob.
Yeah, all right.
Eating the forbidden fruit. That's what they said. It's like
Eating the uncooked goose. Yeah. Snob slobbing time.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yep.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a good phrase if you're trying to convey that something's like appealing. That's forbidden.
No, not at all.
mean, have you had it?
No, but I've looked this up, and safe to eat goose, you have to cook it for like an hour and a half to like 3 hours depending on the weight.
I mean, it's,
Well, it depends on the internal temperature.
It has to be 165.
Yeah, like any good poultry.
first
But
time
my
I
thing
did
is-
it, I puked.
Eating undercooked poultry is not more appealing than eating cooked poultry.
Absolutely not. No,
it's
it'll
kind
kill
of
you.
a Egyptian sashimi thing. You can eat a raw thing.
fuck up.
You can eat
What?
a raw thing right after it's been killed. Yeah.
A raw goose?
Yeah.
Is it better though? It probably
No,
tastes
It's
better.
it
definitely
sounds
not better.
horrible.
That
Yeah,
sounds
it's all
awful.
fucking feathers
But
and
so
shit.
I
Well,
don't
that's why it's
understand-
forbidden.
Yeah.
You would think forbidden would be better. Anyway.
Yeah, it sounds.
According to study the first mummy, which we've since studied, he was about 5'7" in life, and he died rather unexpectedly when he was less than 40 years old.
From
He
eating
got his-
uncooked
He
goose.
got his goose cooked.
Got his goose good, baby. And so Bentrashite became pregnant from all this raw goose ate.
Oh my god.
Too much raw goose.
14-year-old knocked up, much like Jesus.
Yep. Same old story.
Same old
It
story.
really is a hero's journey, isn't
Yeah.
it?
So once her pregnancy became visible, she told the high priest who her child's father was. He informed her that she committed a grievous sin against Isis, a grievous offense, and she's going to be put on trial. He's like, bitch, you are going to be put on trial for this crime, and the most likely outcome is going to be a death sentence. You're probably going to be put to death for this. And she couldn't face herself to bring the scandal that was going to bring upon the pharaoh, so she committed suicide rather than face justice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, she was like, I'm taking myself out.
It's like I got to keep this goose thing private.
Yeah. Goose 2. Them nothing.
Goose 2 under wraps. So Seti heard about this, and fuck, he was so heartbroken when he learned of her sacrifice, and he vowed never to forget her. Just keep her right here.
That's a total baller move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we
You know what?
write?
I'll always remember you.
When
It's
I
like, that's like the
continue to-
bare minimum.
When I continue to fuck 14-year-olds.
I promise not to forget.
I will never forget you.
I'm going to go have sex with another 13-year-old virgin.
I enjoyed it so much.
I'm going to do it
I will
again.
not forget. Yeah.
How dope that was.
I'll be thinking of you every time I'm having sex with you.
You're the one that got me into this.
Kid.
Look, it's not me.
Yeah, so like if you listen to that story and you think about Dorothy Eady's life, you might point out that her being given to the temple at age 3 corresponds to her falling down the stairs at age 3, and having sexual dreams about Seti the first at age 14 corresponds to them hooking up when she's a temple priestess. So yeah, that definitely is true. She doesn't deny that. She never said, she was just like, yeah, that's how it happened.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, the coincidences actually help her story because she's resurrected, so it has to be.
Yeah.
sound like
Yeah,
that.
what kind of resurrection doesn't have coincidences?
So when she's about 27 in 1931, she got what was for her the opportunity of a lifetime. She got hired to work for an Egyptian public relations magazine that was based in London. And they hired her to write articles and draw cartoons, and her work, championed modern Egyptian nationalism, political support for an independent Egypt, and she glorified the pharaohs in her work. So it was very like, yay, Egypt. One of her co-workers of the magazine was a young Egyptian student named Imam Abdul Majid. He was kind of a political activist. And so under the 30s, Egypt is still under British occupation, and nationalist parties were organizing for independence. They wanted to have like King Fahd rule them. But it just looked like it wasn't going to work out for them because he had to go home to Egypt. And but they kept writing letters to each other, and she kept working at the magazine, and he became an English teacher. So he writes to her and he proposes marriage. And she says, yes, absolutely. She prepares to go to Egypt for the first time. She gets off. She takes a ship there. She gets out. She kneels down, kisses the ground.
Oh, wow.
And like,
She just put her mouth on gross shit.
Is this going to turn into a not without my daughter kind of thing? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you mean, though. Yeah, with Iran. And isn't it like Alfred Molina in that movie or something?
Yeah, it's a Melina.
Alfred Molina.
It's a Molina.
It's a Molina.
He plays like he goes back after the revolution with Sally Field and her daughter, and then he's just like he starts hitting her and shit, and he's like, "You can't leave.
You can't leave.
You can't leave."
She's like, not without my daughter. So they were married in a lavish ceremony in Cairo in 1933. She's 29 years old. She became like a member of this very respected upper middle class family because like society in Egypt at this time was very much just like you're a peasant or you're upper middle class, if you're an Egyptian person. And he just happened to be in a nice family. It was pretty well off. And they lived with his family in Cairo, and her father-in-law called her Bulbul, which means nightingale. And everyone's like, oh, Bulbul. And
Sounds nice.
yeah, she's having a great time. She seemingly at first is like, oh, this is really cool. She meets an archaeologist and his secretary, and like they meet when they happen to see her charming snakes. She can do the little like play the flute and charm the snakes, and then the secretary is like, wow, spells relating to snake charming, they're found in ancient Egyptian literature. Wouldn't you know? So they started up a relationship talking about that.
Of course.
And then she visits the Pyramid of Unas, dating from the 5th dynasty. And then she's like writing her diary still. She's like, I'm still getting visits from Seti the First.
She's like, dude, it's still going on.
Where do you think I learned to charm a snake?
Yeah.
We are still involved. This has not stopped. It's gotten more intense.
Bust out a couple of those beers for the boys.
It got more intense once she moved to Egypt.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. She's like, I'm home. Take me to.
Yeah. He's like, gal, you where you should be. And she claims that she was continued to be visited by the spirit. What's more, that other people, she says her new family members also witnessed these spiritual visitations. They knew that this was going on, and they were aware of it too.
Who?
Her
new
family, her
family.
dad.
Oh, her new family.
Her new
Bull,
husband's
yeah.
family.
Like, yeah, we heard her fucking having a Rickroll and rock rolling good time up at the bed.
Rick rolling.
Yeah, gotta get.
She got pregnant not too long after the wedding, though, by her husband.
By SETI.
By her, by real human semen.
Yeah.
Huh.
She's a mommy nut.
Did she say if Seti was mad about her fucking an archaeologist?
No, well,
Yeah,
her husband
that's
was an
what
archaeologist. He was just a student and an English teacher.
Oh.
Like the movie The English Patient. No, that's a different place.
But he was authentic Egyptian.
Which is important.
He was a real Egypt.
Yeah.
He's a
He was a
real
real
Egyptian. And she gave birth to a son. She unilaterally chose to name him Seti after the pharaoh.
Wow.
After the guy she fucks in her sleep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I'm done with him, I swear.
After the mummy that ravished her as a 14-year-old.
It's getting cucked by a 3,000-year-old
Dead guy, 5'7"
guy.
dead guy. Mummy.
You had to throw
jerky
5'7"
man,
in
a
it.
buffalo jerked man, a jerked 5'7" man. I think that's like after cooking, he shrunk down to that size.
After the mummification.
Yeah. And according to Imam's family, her husband's family, this was a very taboo choice because they're Muslim, and that's the pagan name. It's not
Oh, right.
really kosher.
It's got to be Muhammad or
Halal. It's
Muhammad.
not halal.
It's halal, haram. She was acting more, but so also, she's not acting like someone living in modern times. She's acting like someone living in ancient times too.
Yeah.
She continues to like kind of
outside.
not use electricity and
Or the
stuff like
wheel.
that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she continues to like carry water and stuff like that, and kind of like
Every time
She was the original trad wife.
she's kind of a trad wifing it up.
she
Yeah.
sees a car, she screams.
What's that?
And then so like she tells her husband, she did tell her husband straight up, her in-laws and anyone who would listen apparently about her past life and her visitations. And her husband is really alienated from her at this point, and he's disturbed by these stories and how frequently she keeps talking about it.
It's cool until you have a kid with them, and you go, oh no,
I'm
this is the rest of my
stuck.
life?
Yeah. He's like, this is a little too much.
Shouldn't have proposed via letter.
So this is where I also came up with something else that there's a thing. Have you ever heard about children reporting memories of past lives?
Yes. Indigo children and whatnot.
Where little
No.
kids will say that, okay, so some young children, usually between ages of 2 and 5, speak about memories of a previous life they claim to have lived. And at the same time, they show behaviors such as phobias or preferences that are unusual within the context of their family and can't be explained by any current life events. In many cases, the child's statements correspond accurately to the life and death of a dead person. Some kids even have birthmarks or birth defects that align with wounds or marks that the dead person has, things
Okay.
that can be verified by medical reports. And while older kids might hold on to some of these past life memories, generally this starts to fade out around age 7. So these kinds of
Interesting.
cases have come up all over the world. And like some guys, like this Dr. Jim Tucker, spent 20 years studying these cases. And like one of these kids, there have been a couple of really remarkable stories. This kid, James Langinger, he remembers being a pilot in World War II and getting shot down in Japan.
Jesus.
And it's like a really long story, but from the ages
But
of
it
when
ends
he's
with a
between
scream.
like starting at 2 years old, he was obsessed with planes, talked about being shot down, talked about Japan. They took him to museums and just like little words that he
was
would
like,
say.
those lousy Jap bastards.
Yeah, exactly.
2-year-old.
He kept talking about sneakiness a lot.
They
Pearl
figured out that he
Harbor.
was specifically his life story aligned with this guy James Houston, who had been shot down at a specific base outside of Japan.
Wow.
Before Now, I assume that person died before this child was born.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least that math checks out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
It's
And
really
then,
unfortunate his name is Lyinger.
Full of shit, Bert.
Tchaikovsky. A little boy named Ryan Hammonds had memories of being a talent agent and extra in the golden era of Hollywood studios.
Yeah, he ran a fucking casting couch. Gave Runaways their first big break.
I got it,
remember.
sweetheart.
Yeah.
He like
I'm in the picture business.
he like remembered hanging out with Ava Gardner and her kids and meeting all these different people, and said I used to work in an office where we changed people's names, and he remembered all these things from Hollywood, and they showed him pictures, and he said that's me, and he pointed himself out.
Wow.
And just really strange things in line with that.
Not
you can
a lot
find
of-
all these stories.
Not a lot of kids going, I was a garbage man.
Yeah.
I know.
the trash.
That's the fucking thing. Like, there's
Everyone's
it's like,
always a fucking king or a,
They looked great.
yeah.
Yeah.
He had a great career. It was very glorious.
But they didn't die. I mean, he died in a plane crash isn't awesome. That kid was apparently very troubled. He had like terrible nightmares. So he's like, oh no.
He didn't get the cool nightmares like having sex with a pharaoh mummy.
yeah.
I know, getting
Or half of Hollywood.
So people have pointed also that Dorothy Eady said that she was a consecrated virgin. Now that term consecrated virgin, if you look it up, it's a Christian term. It's like
Right.
in the Catholic Church, it's a virgin woman who's consecrated by the church. It's a bride of Christ, you know, and they're wed women in perpetuity. So if you search online, were priestesses in ancient Egypt virgins? You'll get this response. No, virginity was not a requirement for priestesses in ancient Egypt. In fact, premarital sex was socially acceptable. However, priests of Isis and other gods who served their gods took a vow of chastity. So if you worked specifically for Isis, you did have to take a vow of chastity.
Well, good for her.
So this guy who wrote about it, he said, this doctor, he said, among the Egyptians, the priests of Isis and most of those who were in service of their gods took a vow of chastity. To make assurances doubly sure, they were prepared for it in childhood by surgeons. So, you know,
Oh, they sewed it shut.
Oh, for God's sake.
or,
Well, then how did
or
that? Then how did in
I think they're saying they castrated the males that were priests.
right? No,
Yeah.
that I understand.
I don't
but,
think they did it to her. That they consecrated. That they.
Oh, they don't
she didn't
consecrate
mention her
the
being-
she priests.
Yeah, they don't say that she was cut.
Oh,
I guess
or
the guys
stitched
were.
or whatever. 'Cause I
Yeah,
was gonna
yeah.
say, then how did the fucking SETI get between?
Yeah, that's
the
what I was curious
stitches?
about.
Yeah, I mean,
He's a ghost.
yeah.
So she couldn't
No,
have
in
just
her
known
life.
that virginity was a requirement through her study of the culture and religion. I mean, it doesn't have to be that. It's definitely that. And also, like Egyptologists pointed out, that in the early days of ancient Egypt, you know, temple worship, only aristocratic women would be in those priesthood roles. And, you know, you'd like sing and dance and things like that. But women were considered unholy because they could menstruate and give birth to kids.
Oh, yeah.
So they couldn't do
That's the
certain
last thing you want in a religion.
Yeah.
unholy period blood. Ugh, gross. Anyway, so so this boy's name choice, the weird talking about having out of body experiences, seeing apparitions. She's having a lot of friction with her family. So you can imagine.
The Muslims?
Yeah, they're not thrilled about all this crap.
Amazing.
Regular ass
Amazing.
middle class people are not.
Starts the episode by going, of course women believe in reincarnation. Now he's like, oh, the Muslims? No wonder they were trouble.
Well, with her, she's a white lady. You know, she's not part of the crew.
So her husband is he does the I think the most noble and realistic thing he could do.
Commit suicide.
He, seppuku. No, he takes a job offer and moves to Iraq.
God.
All right.
With contractor jobs. you know?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna go teach English in Iraq. I'm gonna get the fuck out of
He taught a
here.
young Saddam Hussein.
You know, he wrote a whole book in blood.
Period, blood. Commas, exclamation points, a whole bunch.
And used "I Will Always Love You" as his campaign song when he got reelected.
It's a good song.
Good song.
He loved his country.
Yeah.
So her and Imam were separated in 1935 and formally divorced in 1936. She took these changes in stride and chose to not return to England. You know, as usually you expect a woman in 1936 got divorced and she's living in a foreign country.
Yeah.
You usually think, get the fuck out of here, go home.
But she's not in a foreign country.
She's home.
Yeah.
She's home.
Yeah. But now the years are going towards certain events.
Yeah, in the 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones is going to show up.
Yeah. That's right. The Ark gets discovered here pretty soon, I think.
I don't know how she existed without sunscreen at this point, too.
I
don't have that right then.
Maybe her skin had memory of the sun as well.
The more wrinkled she got, the more mummy-ish she became.
Yeah.
So
It appealed to him. In 1937, she went to live in Nazlat El Saman, close to the Giza pyramids, and there she met Salim Hassan, an Egyptian archaeologist who worked at the Department of Antiquities. She had a kid to support. She's got a son to support, so she has to get some work. So she asked Hassan if he would allow her to assist him in his work, and he hired her as a secretary and draftswoman, drawing.
Yeah.
And she brought her son to work with her. And the local laborers start calling her Seti, or Mother of Seti in Arabic. It's a common way to address women in the villages.
Oh, yeah.
She takes this title right away. She loves it. She's like, yeah, call me Seti, baby. And she was the first woman ever hired by the Department of Antiquities. And she proved to be a real benefit to her employer. According to American Egyptologist Barbara Lesko, she was a great help to Egyptian scholars, especially Hassan and Fakhri, Professor Ahmed Fakhri, correcting their English and writing English language articles for others. So this poorly educated English woman developed in Egypt into a first-rate draftswoman and prolific and talented writer who even under her own name produced articles, essays, monographs, and books of great range, wit, and substance.
That's sweet.
So she was working with these guys, helping them learn English, helping them write their articles, helping them get their stuff published. They were teaching her about archaeology, which she loved to learn about. And people who worked with Dorothy said that she had exceptional knowledge of all aspects of ancient Egyptian history and culture. And people thought she was weird as fuck, highly eccentric, but she was a dedicated student of archaeology. They're like, I can't argue. She does love this shit. That's without a doubt. And when she met an archaeologist, they'd have a knowledge exchange. The trade-off, they would teach her about archaeology, and she would teach them about drawing and hieroglyphics. She would become extremely efficient at studying and excavating ancient Egyptian artifacts with her boss and his colleagues. So she's going on digs. She's digging up artifacts.
Jeez.
She's digging
This
shit.
is my ex-husband.
Yeah.
She brought up in almost endless detail about life in ancient Egypt. She could talk about anything to do with life in ancient Egypt. And she seemed like she not just memorized these facts, she figured them out by instinct. And then she was a really good practical assistant on excavations. And she really puzzled people about how she could know so much. And she really was good at systematically organizing all the findings that everybody pulled from this stuff. And some of the locals started to fear her because she was practicing the ancient religions and worshiping Isis and Osiris and all this stuff. And she would lay offerings before the Sphinx. She went to the Sphinx and put offerings before it.
Cool.
She spent nights alone inside the pyramids of Giza.
Like Aleister
Really?
Crowley.
Yeah.
Inside.
Yep.
Wow.
could
With the
do that.
booby traps.
Yeah, those curses.
Oh, she knew what were.
She was
She
pretty
settled.
fearless, but she also
What did she leave in front of the Sphinx? A bunch of Purina?
yeah,
Oh my god.
No.
cat tree,
Just
a cardboard box.
some fucking catnip shaped like a fish.
What's that little tube with the goo that they squeeze out?
It was
The laser pointer?
It was a ball of yarn.
So she also, though, she was very respectful of other people's religion. She fasted during Ramadan, and she celebrated Christmas feast with the Christians who were around there, like the Coptics.
Cross community.
Yeah.
I love that.
So Professor Salim Hassan retired when he got to be a little older in years in 1951. Seti was, what she liked to be called, was 47 years old, and Professor Ahmed Fakhri hired her to join his staff, and he was working with the Department of Antiquities in Dashur, a village with an ancient Egyptian pyramid complex. It's best known for the Bent Pyramid and the Red Pyramid.
Oh.
They're some of the oldest, largest, and best preserved pyramids in Egypt. They're 2613 to 2589 BC.
The Bent one has all that good gay shit.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's
Which way's
bad,
it
but he's
bent?
been jerking it too much. It's very bad.
It's funny that she's on Seti too, because she's like, Seti is actually my daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But gotta get that math guy
Love
out.
her. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, so besides being a great help exploring the pyramid fields, she also helped him with his field reports, his final reports for publication. And then it sounds weird that she hasn't been to Abydos yet, but she hasn't. This whole time she's been living in Egypt, she hasn't been to the place where she says she's actually from.
That is weird.
So she made visits
Going
to the
home is
Great
tough,
Temple at Abydos in 1952 and in 1954. And those visits further convinced her that she absolutely had been a priestess there in a former
But wait,
life.
hold on. But how did she do during the war?
I guess fine. They don't even mention anything of it. She's just living in Egypt.
Yeah,
chilling.
because I know a little bit about Rommel in Egypt, and the Allies and the Axis would go back and forth. And they had a thing where they thought everybody kept poisoning each other's water, but then they realized it was just the
bad
oil
water.
spilling in. Nobody was poisoning anything. But they thought
poisoned again.
Yeah. But it was the desert. The desert was, was a
Unforgiving place.
It was a hotbed
Yeah.
of activity. But I guess she made it. But also you would think that Hitler would want to root around in those pyramids.
Yeah, but dude, that's where the fucking Ark was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
right?
Would have thought so. Then we just
It
went
was
down
in
to
the pyramids. We
Antarctica.
know that it was in an underground temple where you had to have the staff with the fucking medallion.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Also,
It's crazy
maybe-
that's all going on. She's like, I don't even give a fuck, dude.
Yeah. Go have fun.
She's from fucking London. She's like, cares.
Sauces. So in 1954, she'd been living in Egypt for over a decade and had regular contact with archaeologists. And so when she arrived in Abydos, she felt like she had lived there before. This is a story from her directly. It hasn't been verified by any outside parties. She says that when she gets there, the chief inspector of the Department of Antiquities decides to test her. He knows that she says that she's had a past life story. So he's like, I'm going to put you to the test,
You've
lady.
been talking some shit, huh?
What's
Yeah,
behind door
yeah.
number 1, bitch?
Prove it.
How many fingers am I holding?
Step up to the streets. What is it when they're like, they play you when you dance against somebody? I forget. You got served. Sorry.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to serve you. He had her stand in complete darkness in the temple and standing before a mural, like that's on a temple wall. He's like, point out this scene to me, the scene where this happened. Where's that happen on the mural? So this is, to his astonishment, she could identify where everything was blindfolded. And these murals had never been published in any works before, and very few people had ever seen them in modern times. So it wasn't like she could just like know from a book.
All right.
But also, this is her saying that this happened.
Yeah. Did anybody ask her how the pyramids were built? Because we're still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I am.
Yeah.
She also pointed out where the gardens would have been. So that's
Let me guess,
like
outside.
that's yeah.
I should do one of those wide hand waves over there.
This is what the
She had a
gardens were
stick
in
and
this
she was
general.
like, "Whoa, there's water." The locations at that time of the gardens were unknown. People didn't know where the gardens had been in Abydos.
Oh.
And she's like, "Oh, they're going to be here." This
So
is something
was she right about that?
This is also something that she had pointed out when she was a little kid. When she first saw pictures of the temple at Abydos, she was like, "Where are the gardens?" She was basically telling them, dig here. And when they dug there, they found signs of ancient tree stumps and other signs that there had been gardens there when she told them it would be.
Wow.
She was also able to lead them to an undiscovered hidden temple on the north end of the temple that no one had ever found before.
That's got to be embarrassing.
But
Yeah, I feel like if you dig deep enough anywhere in Egypt, you're going to find it.
yeah, it's also a thing where you could say, she might have said, hey, I've looked at this temple before, how it's laid out. It could be laid out like this temple. So maybe it'll be, or maybe you'll find a temple there.
Yeah, but for people that have been there the
Extrapolating.
whole time to not know, and then she makes them discover something is pretty wild.
But this is also according to her.
Yeah.
Right.
This is her take. But they did excavate those things. But she's like, I told them to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know how accurate it is that
This is
she
my
was
temple.
actually. Yeah, it's my temple. So Fakhri's project in Darshur was terminated in 1956, and he offered Seti a choice of two positions. She could have a cushy, high-paid job at the records office in Cairo, or she could keep working in Abydos as a draftswoman, making very little money. And she got a visit from Seti, and he said he wanted her to stay in Abydos. And if she remained chaste now, it could undo the sin that she committed, 3,000 years ago.
Oh, that's sweet.
So she's like, no, I got to stay here making
And
like
stay
shit
chaste?
money. Yeah. And not get married. She's like, I'm divorced. She's like, not fucking anybody. She's just being like a nun practically.
Damn.
And so she continues to work drafting, illustrating, writing about ancient Egypt. In 1956, she got this permanent assignment in Abydos from the Department of Antiquities, and she was 52 years old. She said, I had only one aim in life, and that was to go to Abydos, to live in Abydos, and to be buried in Abydos. All she wants to do. So when you work for the Department of Antiquities, you're expected to retire at 60 years old. And so that meant in 1964, they wanted her to leave. They're like, yeah, you got to wrap it up. And
Wrap it up like a mummy bee.
Yeah. When
Get
I
going.
die, bury me inside the pyramid.
oh, yeah, that's real cute, but you got to get going. You got to get the fuck out of here. They advised her to move to Cairo and just get some part-time job somewhere. They're like, I don't know what to tell
There's a
you.
new KFC.
It's like the old one.
That's original recipe.
She petitioned to be kept on staff for another 5 years. She's like, please keep me
Damn.
Fine.
for another couple of years. And so she was so valuable to the organization in 1969, they kept her until 1969
Wow.
Damn.
for another 5 years. They let her stay on.
Wow.
And then
That must have been tough because that's the summer of love.
Yeah, dude, we went to the
She's
moon.
got to stay chased for this fucking dead asshole.
Well, that's good because you can go on vacation then. She's got you covered.
Yeah.
Go
so
to Miami.
she got about $30 a month in a pension from the, like, that's all the money she had to support herself on.
Hey, man, pension?
And the son, is he still around?
Yeah, she's still got her son, but he's like
He's a
doing his
grown
own
man
thing.
now.
But
Driving a cab.
she was kept on as a consultant to the Department of Antiquities part-time. They're like, you can still work here part-time. It's all right. And she wasn't officially working at the site anymore, but she kept living in that, like, a small village next to Abydos called Araba el Madfuna. And everybody who came there, like, knew who she was. They're like, oh, yeah, that's a little old weird lady who lives over there.
Yeah.
You know, and this little British woman. And she would talk to everybody who came by. The archaeologists knew her, and they really respected her. They thought she was really wonderful and, like, knew a lot about everything. And she shared her home with stray cats, donkeys, and pet snakes, vipers.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
boy.
See what happens? See what happens?
Her
You can't have sex with men?
Or mummies.
get vipers.
Snakes and donkeys. The
Snake?
cats, that makes sense.
Yeah,
yeah,
Egyptians
yeah.
worshipped them.
Yeah, of
They
course.
thought they were funny. And they were right.
The way they level the sign. Like, what's funny about them?
She's got the Purina. She's got the cat toys.
It's true.
She got the shit. Her diet consisted of little more than mint tea, holy water, dog vitamins.
Oh,
I'm sorry, what?
They had dog vitamins back then?
Dog vitamins.
It's
Keeps the-
human grade.
Keeps the worms out.
Yeah, ivermectin.
Yes, exactly. And a whole lot of prayer. She was also would perform like local, like religious kind of like healing stuff, you know, for people who had issues with, you know, infertility and stuff like that.
Busting out the fucking Alpo vitamins.
People like the rhino horn and all that stuff, like those gas station dick pills. She was,
Yeah, Rhino 69.
yeah, she was essentially making that for people.
My vet swears by it.
Exactly. She was doing all that stuff. And then, but she was very familiar with a lot of folk medicine and worked on people with issues like that. And she sewed needlepoint embroideries of the ancient Egyptian pantheon of gods, scenes from the Temple of Abydos, and hieroglyphic cartouches. I had no idea what a cartouche is. So it's something you see in Egyptian hieroglyphs. It's an oval with a line at one end showing that it's a royal name. So tourists would buy these needlepoints and she would get, you know, a little extra money to survive off of.
Yeah. I learned what a cartouche was from the motion picture Stargate.
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
Yeah.
I learned what a Stargate is from that.
Yeah. It's a good movie, guys.
Yeah, it is.
It is a great movie. I
Yeah.
liked it.
Solid.
Yeah. It's got
James Spader,
James Spader. Yeah, I was going to say.
Kurt Russell.
It's one of his less horny roles.
Yeah. Yeah. It's actually one of his most nerdy roles.
Yeah.
And so in her retirement years, she spent most of her time walking around the temple, just talking to tourists about like what the area used to be like long ago, visiting archaeologists.
This is where I lost my virginity.
I got railed. James P. Allen of the American Research Center in Cairo called her the patron saint of Egyptology. I don't know of an American archaeologist in Egypt who doesn't respect her.
Damn. Shit.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, yeah, she's white.
Yeah.
Of course they
Oh,
lost
for
her.
God's
yeah.
sake.
She barely
These
knew enough
fucking
to be-
Americans.
Third bad take.
They
He's
only
blaming-
want to
he's
respect.
blaming the Americans at least.
Yeah, I'm blaming the Americans, dude.
Yeah.
In the 1970s, her health really started to decline.
They ran out of dog pills.
She ran out of Alpo.
They switched the formula on science.
She had to upgrade to wolf pill.
Yeah. But her coat looked great.
So much energy. She had a mild heart attack in 1972. So this is also like she's getting no like medical care at all or something. She broke her knee. She had phlebitis, which means vein swelling, something that typically happens in the legs. In the early 1970s, she said that she knew the location of Nefertiti's tomb.
Cool.
And she was like, I'm not going to tell anybody.
Yep. She said she would not reveal it because Seti had told her that he didn't want more on that family to be known.
That's Seti for you.
Palace intrigue.
Yeah, scandal.
She finally revealed that the tomb was in the Valley of the Kings near King Tut's tomb. At that time, it was thought that there were no more undiscovered tombs in that area. But since then, there have been a number of scans of that area that show that there are some areas that we haven't discovered. And that in the 2000s, a radar scan showed evidence there have been 2 empty chambers near King Tut's tomb. And just there's been things tied up that they haven't actually dug a lot more to excavate
a lot
the
of
area.
red tape.
So it's a lot of matter of debate whether Nefertiti is buried there. But it was not, like her saying that wasn't something that was in keeping with, the way people thought then. So it was like, what? I don't know about that. So she's still dealing with health problems. She's got a lot of ailments, one of which we know is, dysentery.
Oh.
That would be an ailment.
Drinking all that holy water straight out of the pit.
Yeah. I have her lead cup.
With dog pills. Chasing with dog pills. Her body, she's very thin and frail. You can see footage of her. People have filmed her and stuff. She's a skinny little British woman with a little kerchief on and stuff.
When she fell and hurt her knee, it didn't become someone else's knee, did it?
No, yeah.
Yeah, resurrecting. I was thinking about that. Like, if you get, like, an appendix thing, like, do you get to meet your appendix in hell or in heaven?
Yeah.
Yeah, are your foreskins?
Yeah. Like,
Well,
does your bad organs, like, if your organ gets diseased, it goes to hell, but if it's good, it goes to heaven.
I don't know. I think my organ gets reincarnated.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know. She was very thin and frail, but she never faltered in a choice to keep living by Abydos. She still wanted to stay there. And reflecting on her very unusual life, she said, "It's been more than worth it. I wouldn't want to change anything."
Oh.
After the heart attack, she sold her house and moved into a one-room shack made out of reeds.
Fuck me.
At this point, Ahmed Suleiman, the son of the former keeper of the temple Seti, he built her a small peasant house made out of mud bricks next to his family home so she could live
Hey,
near him,
upgrade.
so he could watch
to
out
mud.
for her a little bit. And the night she moved in, the spirit of Seti came to visit her
You thought you could escape me.
and carry out a ritual to consecrate the home.
Ooh, what kind of
Sounds
weird.
sexy.
boy.
She claimed that during the visit, Seti told her about the only time he met the god Set, for which he was named. He said that Set was a spirit of all that is cruel and evil.
Good
Yes.
God.
Yeah, Set is like the evil brother of Osiris.
He's like, but he's more of a chaos god. He's not really like super evil. So this is something that's not totally in line with.
Well, maybe she's
Egyptian
right.
mythology.
She's right about a lot of other stuff.
That's true.
A little bit of a Loki.
Yeah. Over the following weeks, he visited her many times, and he relayed to her that he was told by a Cretan, someone from Crete, that the islands of the Aegean were the tops of mountains that had sunk into the Mediterranean. And this is where he believed Atlantis was located.
Interesting.
Oh,
That's what a lot of
okay.
people point to Crete and some of the Minoan areas of
Really?
Greece. It's possible. Hey,
Over the next few years, she lived in a different series of different peasant houses built out of mud bricks, like that. And she jokingly referred to a residence as the Seti Hilton. And so...
This one's made of dog shit.
It's still a Hilton.
hey, there's someone digested vitamins in there. Can't get
We'll have
these
to do
anymore.
an excavation.
Write it up. So, like, at this point, like, we're asking about her kid. Her son said he's a grown man at this point. Yeah. He's got a family of his own. And what a family. This guy had 8 kids.
Oh, wow.
And he's living and working in Kuwait with his family, and he offers her to come live with him. He's like, "Mom, come live with me."
It's the 80s. Kuwait's awesome. Nothing's going to happen.
We're going to be safe forever.
Yeah.
She declined. She told her son that she had lived next to Abydos for over 20 years, and it was her dream. She's like, "I would just die if I died here." It was her dream to die and be buried there. And, at this point, she is getting on in years. And
Getting up there.
Yeah, she said, "Death holds no terror for me. I'll just do my best to get through the judgment." Have you ever heard about the judgment?
They weigh your heart against the feather of truth.
Yes, to see if it's heavy, weighed down with sin. And she says, "I'm going to come before Osiris, who will probably give me a few dirty looks, because I know I've committed some things I shouldn't have."
Mainly your father.
Yeah. fucked as a 14-year-old by a mummy. So there's this place in Egypt called the Chicago House. It's this house which serves as the headquarters for the Oriental Institute. It's a major center for Egyptological studies, Egyptian scholars, foreign scholars, and you can still check it out. It's still going on. And they gifted Seti an imitation Shawabti figurine to place in her tomb for when she died.
Wow.
Shawabti or Ushabti is a funerary figurine that the ancient Egyptian used. These figurines were intended to act like minions or servants for the dead person.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
If they were
could
called
use
upon
that,
to do manual labor in the afterlife, you'd see these figurines carrying a hoe on their shoulder.
Yeah.
Hi ho, hi ho. Yeah.
Oh, this is what the Krusty toy turns into when you send him to good.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. And a basket on their backs. They looked like they were little farmers getting ready to work for the deceased. They had inscriptions on them asserting their readiness to answer the god's summons to work.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ready, pal. So she's gifted this. So she's kind of like getting ready to go. But also like death is such a focal point for the ancient Egyptians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're obsessed with death.
Yeah.
So she's obsessed with death. And the local Muslims and Christians would not allow her to be buried in their graveyards because she's a heathen.
Yeah.
That's fair.
They were like, yeah, absolutely not. As much as they had known her for all these years, absolutely not. And she...
Great lady.
Yeah.
Solid chick.
Don't get me wrong, I like her.
Yeah. But rules are
She
rules.
cured my tennis elbow
Yeah.
with a poultice.
Not in my
Exactly.
graveyard.
Yeah. We do White Elephant every year. We do a little Yankee
Pickleball,
swap.
mean pickleball player. I'm sorry.
But that would really fuck up our thing,
Yeah.
She made me this uncooked goose. Mwah, delicious.
if you know what I mean.
Built her house out of my dog's shit.
Stole my dog's pills. I hate her. So she built her own underground tomb,
Whoa.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's
which
good.
came equipped with a false door. It's meant to be a door for her soul to travel between the earthly world and the spiritual world, the Herka. Apparently, this is a thing that they do.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta build fucking left turn.
How old is she when she's fucking building this tomb?
Oh, she's in her like 70s.
Fuck.
Getting to be older. And again, like she's living a hard life. She's living like out in the
Yeah, she's
elements.
getting dysentery.
She's
Yeah.
getting the fresh air though.
Yeah.
Fresh
Yeah.
air, sunshine.
Yeah, get a little walking in there.
Yeah.
Caloric restriction. Extends life
Yeah.
expectancy.
It's great.
She got fucking sand lung.
Did you see that billionaire dude with the fucked up face?
Yeah,
He's been
yeah,
injecting
got
his
the,
son's
yeah,
fat or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's great.
Yeah.
So on the door of her tomb, there's an engraving of an offering prayer, which is in line with Egyptian beliefs. Her tomb was located at the western side of her garden and had a carved figure of Isis with her wings outspread. By April 10th, 1981, so she's born in 1904, it's 1981.
Fuck.
Her condition had deteriorated to the point that she chose to give away her 2 pet cats.
Oh, that's
Never-
a big
Downhill from there.
Never a good sign.
She actually got a very meaningful letter, though, some 5 days later from Olivia Robertson, and confirmed that Seti had been enrolled in an interfaith spiritual movement dedicated to the goddess Isis called the Fellowship of Isis.
Whoa.
And she might have won $30,000 from Publishers Clearinghouse. Sounds ridiculous. They said
Here
this is a
comes
big
that
thing to her.
McMahon.
I know. I'm going to be on the television.
Knocking on her reed door.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is bulldozing her house.
This place smells like shit. Oh!
Bulda's house. It's not Palestine.
Oh my God, Lord.
I'm sorry.
We're scientists here.
It's too far. So Dorothy Eady, or Seti, died on April 21st, 1981 in Abydos, Egypt. Unfortunately, the local health authority wouldn't let her be buried in the tomb that she built.
Oh my God.
Built it.
Yeah.
She built it. Let her.
We built this.
Oh, did they send her back to England?
No.
Well, they flung
They
it.
allowed her body to be interred in an unmarked grave facing westward in the desert outside of a Coptic cemetery. So they found a Coptic Christian church.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they're like,
How about right
outside of it in the desert.
I mean, that's as good as inside when you really get down to it.
Yeah.
What does it matter? You're in the ground. The fuck? What does it matter?
I know where the fence is.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Shit.
God stops right here.
Did they at least give her
It's
a
all the same
door?
thing. No door, no fake door.
How's her soul gonna get into some new fucking kid?
Yeah.
I know.
That's fucked
I
up.
hope so. So some 14-year-old is going to get nailed. Seti was confident that after she died, her spirit or ka would journey through the gateway to the west. somehow, and she'd be reunited with her friends that she'd made throughout her life as Dorothy Eady. This new state of existence is described in the 1,000 years old pyramid text: sleeping that she may wake, dying that she may live. So today, people still know about her. And when you think about it, she was a lady who in the 1920s, 1930s, did what she wanted to do, followed her dreams and her passion. She wasn't educated. She wasn't wealthy. She wasn't famous. She had no big connections. And she managed to become...
Die destitute, starving, and sick.
full of dog pills.
Yeah. I mean, on her own terms, you got to give it to her.
You really do. I mean, given all these other opportunities to move or at least encouragement to move, she's still...
Okay, well, hold on. I do want to do a bit of a round table on this, but I want to take a break first. So let's just take a break, take some pisses, etc.
Oh yeah,
I've
got some. Yeah, I got some dog pills here.
Okay, we'll take some dog pills, and we'll be right back, and we'll just well, there's a lot to cover here, so I want to give it some breathing room.
Some canine pharmacology.
We'll be right back, folks. And we're back. Now, do we think there's anything to this?
So, like, I've been doing a lot of
Soul searching.
reading about the CIA Stargate program. Speaking of Stargate,
Nice.
like the remote viewing stuff, and I mean, they did it. You know,
They did what?
They did remote viewing. They fucking got somebody out from the Red Brigades. Like, some of it worked.
How describe that? I don't understand what you're saying.
Are you familiar with the concept of remote viewing?
Like viewing through somebody else's.
No, it's not through anybody in particular, but the CIA had basically a psychic spy program, and it went on for like 10 or 20 years, and they used it to like spy on, find people, find locations, find bases. They had people make drawing, and like it was a trainable skill that they used. They eventually, like, quote unquote, shut down the program, but we'll see. I mean, if you can listen, I don't have proof that it's possible, but it's in doc. You can do a freedom of information request and read all about the Stargate program and all the things that it did do.
Right.
Is that a psyop? I don't know, but if that's possible, let's say hypothetically, it's possible to go into a room, get into a state of mind where you can project your consciousness elsewhere and tap into a view of a place that you are not at.
Right.
Maybe it also works backwards in time.
Right.
Maybe if you hit your head hard enough.
Yeah. And you can play the piano. Why can't you know
your radio dial gets a little bit jumbled.
Yeah.
And you tap into something else. Maybe.
Perhaps.
Because consciousness has been described as kind of a
receiver.
like a receiver of radio waves and certain frequencies, and that maybe if we unlock certain parts of our brain, we can tap into certain frequencies that we might not normally get.
Maybe.
That's kind of idea. Oh, the other thing was interesting is those kids who say that they had been lived a different life before, been born before. Sometimes kids will also talk about living before being born. They'll say, "I chose you to be my parent."
Yeah, like
or I chose you to be my mommy, or like I existed before being my soul being like called up, like your number's ready, and like I was like chose you to be my parents because I wanted you to be
They're
my
in that
mom.
Beetlejuice waiting room.
Yeah. Tell that to the kids whose parents beat the shit out of them and rape them.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
I choose you.
They were just Hitler in a past life.
Yeah.
No, speaking of World War II, General George S. Patton Jr. was a strong believer in reincarnation and believed that he would be reincarnated after death. He claimed that he had lived many previous lives, including as a Roman legionnaire, a Greek hoplite, and Napoleonic marshal, and the Carthaginian general Hannibal.
Oh.
And he believed he would be reborn as a male, a fighter, and he would retain some awareness of his previous lives. He believed that death was a natural transition and gateway to a new life.
Wow.
It's possible. Maybe it's, I don't know. I don't know if like, I think the pop idea.
When was Belichick born?
When was Taylor Swift?
He was reincarnated as Mike Tyson. yeah, the pop notion of reincarnation, it sounds very fishy. Like, oh, your soul is there's got to be like one thing going on, like one soul experiencing many different lives all at the same, like in a different way. Like, I don't know if like, oh, the idea of individuality when it comes to metaphysics sounds like bullshit to me. Like the individualism shouldn't exist.
Because it's supposed to be like, all right, energy or is neither created nor destroyed, right?
Right.
So nothing's new, nothing's old. Nothing really dies. Nothing is ever really created. So you could say the soul is just something that, just keeps going on, just keeps getting recycled. It's never made new. It's never dies.
One thing I noticed about your profile is that you did not mention how the pyramids were built.
Oh yeah.
And I was told that we would figure that out.
I think one of the issues is she lived 3,000 years ago, and the pyramids are probably like 12,000 years old.
Yeah.
My personal belief is that the pyramids may be older than, but the orthodoxy, the conventional wisdom is that the pyramids are about 4,000 years old.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. That's
Because that's what just what the common.
Right. But there is more and more supporting kind of like.
Yeah, I don't know about the pyramids being older, but they say that the Sphinx may be older. Yeah. Some of the like older temple stuff underneath the what would you call that? The new dynasty, old dynasty, new dynasty. Is that what they are?
Yeah.
Old Egypt stuff is older. It has a completely different like aesthetic and building style.
Yeah.
That stuff may be older. But I think the conventional wisdom is that the pyramids are 3,000 BC or something like that. So she should know. Or maybe she doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Also, like,
that.
there's, one of the things I noticed in this profile is, like, I think something we touched on before, too, but, like, there is, like, a lot of very serious, kind of, like, historical red tape with dealing with
Egypt.
With Egypt. They take it, like, incredibly seriously. They really want to, create a light footprint.
Yep.
Zawi
Hawass.
Yeah.
All the films.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very nationalistic when it comes to their stuff, as they have a right to be.
Yeah, but doesn't everybody that's really passionate about it want to get in there and start rooting around?
Yeah, it seems like.
Yeah, but you don't want to fuck it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
only got one shot at this shit.
Yeah, because archaeology, like by definition, is destructive. You lose a lot of shit digging stuff up, so you just got to be careful and pick and choose and take good notes.
Yeah.
Oh.
The radar stuff does really help.
Yeah, LiDAR.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's a little poem that George S. Patton wrote. So, as through a glass and darkly, the age-long strife I see, where I fought in many guises, many names, but always me. And I see not in my blindness what the objects were I wrought, but as God rules o'er our bickerings, it was through his will I fought. So forever in the future shall I battle as of yore, dying to be born a fighter, but to die again once more.
So he believed in reincarnation, so like he didn't feel bad about just killing all those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
that
much
probably
it.
really helped.
He had a
guys were
Spartan
all-
I'm
spirit.
doing you a favor.
Yeah.
You guys right next time.
You guys were Napoleon's troops. You guys were Hannibal's troops. You saw what happened with them.
Yeah.
Napoleon loved Egypt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally, for real.
Kicked off Egyptomania.
And it is also a thing, that there was a real Egyptomania and that people were very fascinated by this. And as a young girl in England, Egypt was probably the most exotic thing that she was exposed to.
Yeah.
It's still one of the most exotic things. It's fucking
Mysterious.
incredible.
It's
Yeah.
mysterious. It has everything. It's drama.
It's got magic, palace intrigue, virgins.
Did she ever speak on if Cleopatra was black or not? Because that's very taboo these days.
Yo, I
She
know.
wasn't. She was Greek.
I think she was Greek. I think she looked at like the chick from My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Yeah,
near Mardalos.
we're closer to Cleopatra than Cleopatra was to the building of the
I
pyramids,
think she looked like Fran Drescher.
which is hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Sheffield.
Pharaoh.
Arrow. Yeah, it's also, I mean, people when they do say that they lived long ago, they often do say that they had a connection to a palace intrigue and romance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It does come up a lot. So
Yeah,
it's
not
kind
all-
of, it's a bit suspicious.
Either they're all full of shit, or poor people don't get reincarnated.
Yeah, could be that. Could be that she had to learn a lesson, which is not, don't be a slut. That was the
Yeah.
lesson
Yeah.
she had to learn
right.
again.
Yeah.
What you do? Be a slut.
Yeah, true. I don't know. But no, it's weird too. I dated an Egyptian guy when I was 14.
Oh. Damn. So maybe you're her reincarnated.
Yeah.
I know.
Here to tell your own story and the story before.
What?
Did you meet his mummy?
Yeah, she really liked me.
Ghastly. Matt, what do you think about all this?
I mean, I it's very much, it's cool that she was respected. That's very good. It sounds like she wasn't a detriment to the archaeology.
She was enthusiastic,
How
man.
easy would it have been to kick out a woman if she was causing a problem?
Yeah,
but
for
it
sure.
seems like she was well accepted, and that's all great. I can put my whatever biases about resurrection aside and go like, well, at least it was really great or good. I mean, I think she was kind of a goof, but
Hey,
more power to her.
goofs do good work too, man.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's
Yeah, I mean, you got to have people who are obsessed with something.
Yeah, like anytime, great people who do groundbreaking or exceptional work, oftentimes they're fucking weird. Look at Patton.
Yeah.
So, hey, she got bonked on the head. She found something that she really loved and she stuck to it. What are you going to do, John?
yeah.
What? I was asking people what they think.
Well, it's also interesting because I think one thing that I did learn when I was working on a ghost show, a show about like where they visited places that were haunted and stuff. And one of the people on it was a expert or someone who would see or was aware of spirits and could communicate with them better. And he talked about having an accident when he was a kid and hitting his head. And I found out through research that a lot of times when people have accidents where they damage part of their brain, it can affect your sense of vision, where your brain will create a second version of you, like a double of you in the space. That will be like a black shadow version of you. So sometimes people talk about seeing shadow people.
And they're just seeing like their own projection.
They're seeing themselves doubled in the space because they've had a
ghost
brain
looks
injury.
just like me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're basically the same size and outline of you.
Interesting.
But your brain's creating a double of you in the space.
Your eyes are. I was really drunk a couple nights ago,
Yeah.
and
Couldn't see.
I started seeing double.
Yeah.
There was two Hulkamaniacs getting their wigs ripped off by Macho Man. And I was like, this is madness. But I could have just been a precocious 14-year-old going like, this is the greatest WrestleMania.
Yeah, dude, they
WrestleMania
had two Hulks.
They got 2 WrestleManias going on.
Oh my God, WrestleMania 1 and 2 on the same night?
But seriously, if I had a kid that was 14 and was like sleepwalking and saying they have constant nightmares and
Yeah, you
dreams
give
about
them Ritalin.
Egypt, I would definitely send them to a sanitarium.
Yeah.
I would be like, this is too disruptive. You can't act like this. This
we're
is
trying
not
to
normal.
make good
You're kicked
workers
out of
here.
Sunday school. You got kicked out of school. Where are you going to fucking go to school now? You got to shut the fuck up about this stuff.
Yeah, keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Bottle it up.
I mean, the thing about that, too, though, is that, like, she was really a problem when she was at home. And then when she gets to Egypt, she really does.
she
create a good
She
life.
just needed to be in her element.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
not every place is for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then what do you think? Do you think, like, she just really, like, fully learned hieroglyphics on the quick?
Yeah, I think she just really was super dedicated to learning hieroglyphics. And from learning that, she just learned a lot about everything to do with ancient Egypt and like the religion, the layout of everything, how everybody operated.
John learned how to speak hieroglyphics in an afternoon.
Yes, that's true. I took mushrooms and they accused me of speaking in hieroglyphics.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I was like, bird, crocodile, hippo.
But there's a thing,
lady.
too, where you go, like, are you more driven if you feel like you're trying to uncover your past than the average person in archaeology or being a historian or whatever? If you feel like you're like searching for answers about yourself, maybe you will try harder than the average person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More motivation.
I think there's definitely something also to that. It kind of makes it like she's so well studied in it that she is seeing patterns in it. So when she actually has to make guesses about stuff, she's going off her pattern knowledge,
Right.
and guessing like this could be the most obvious place,
Like where the
this would
temple
be.
was or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Or
also
the tunnel,
people who are not educated like in the orthodox fashion will
Oh, yeah, yeah.
oftentimes bring an outside perspective
yeah.
because they didn't grow, like great filmmakers often didn't go to fucking USC film school
and learn the same thing everybody else did.
They learned things in a different way,
It's like an
they
idiot
come to bring
savant,
it. Yeah,
or something like that.
Well, I would say idiot.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just something also too where it's like maybe her brain saw layouts of places differently than other people did, or But I think it's kind of cool in a way where it's like she did really believe in the old religion and she practiced it routinely, like it was her real faith. In that it's something interesting. I know that there are people today who worship like Greek gods, ancient Greek gods still, and they do worship it. People are pagans to this day, and it does seem kind of crazy. But it's like, if that speaks to you, I don't know what to be like. Don't do that.
Yeah, I can imagine though, also like raising a child like that, and the child being adamant that this is what was going on. It'd be hard not to listen to them with like a very sympathetic and open mind.
Yeah.
Now, but in Edwardian London, they're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But now we're all very,
No, I think just if it's your child, you love your child.
Not back then. They hated their kids, dude. They hated them. They did.
Yeah.
They spent a lot of time going, what if she falls again? Could we?
What if she
Is there a way to
falls
reverse it?
for the last time?
Yeah.
Oh, like maybe she'll be right again?
She'll go back.
Maybe she won't be
reset
our
her.
problem anymore.
I know.
Maybe the doctor gets it right this time.
Yeah. But it is a thing where you think about it, it's like in the 1920s and 1930s, people weren't suffering women being foolish in any sort of way.
For sure. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Especially like men who were professors of Egyptology, Egyptian men. She worked with men who were from Egypt.
Yeah. However, we've had some other women that
They went to Egypt and
they did this kind of thing before, and I think there's also the thing about being a British person of Britain.
Yeah.
It's the original Karens. Let's you know what I mean? Like it's a thing of like, well, we don't want to fuck with her because she is white.
Yeah.
So as long as she doesn't cause too much.
And they did own this place until yesterday.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
But she could fall in a tunnel or a ditch or something, and no one
True.
would go to look
Yeah.
for her. Her parents weren't wealthy. She wasn't well connected. She wasn't famous or anything till after. It is weird though. Okay, so this is like I mentioned some of the titles of the videos that are about her. People are really interested in her because people like that, just that quick headline of like proof of life after death, proof of reincarnation. It is like she's sort of become internet famous in a little way.
Interesting.
That people on the internet are more fascinated by her, and I think as people start to believe in stuff and like astrology more and things,
Oh yeah, the Earth is flat, all that shit.
Yeah. Is this proof of reincarnation?
It's easier to build a pyramid if the Earth is flat.
Definitely, yeah. It solves one angle.
But who does it hurt? Who does it hurt to say that? Yeah, maybe you were born in 3,000 years ago.
I mean, she definitely, we have to say, commits to the bit.
Yeah, she
To
does.
no benefit.
Yeah, she doesn't become wealthy.
Not at all. No.
It's not a grift.
No, it's definitely not a grift.
It's just what she believed, and she fucking lived it out. So you got
and there really was no benefit to the point where like she got buried in sand. With nobody.
Outside of the cemetery.
Yeah. It's I mean, it's commitment. You gotta give her that.
Yeah.
I do.
But I do wish she had that false door. That was like the one kind of thing where you're like, come on, just give her that, man.
Yeah, just let her be buried in her little piece of shit fucking temple that she built.
She plays her little magic trick with the door that goes to the Stargate.
Plays
or
around with
whatever.
snakes.
Yeah. Then again,
The snake charming thing is crazy too.
Oh yeah, she did folk medicine and like snake charming and all the old stuff.
Yeah.
She was all into it. She knew the songs, she knew the dances.
Yeah, she'd probably be in fucking RFK's fucking.
exactly. Yeah.
Why does that guy sound like the human embodiment of a loogie?
Yeah.
He had a problem.
Yeah.
It's a neurological thing.
But it's crazy when you go like, this is the guy we're gonna trust with health. From now on.
Exactly.
The guy with the brainworm
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy with the whale head.
and bare body.
Bare
and
body and
But also people in England, they were fascinated by Egypt.
the whole world,
It was
all of Europe
fascinating.
was. Egyptomania is a real fucking thing.
And deservedly so.
with that,
Yeah.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to be obsessed with the culture, get obsessed with Egypt.
Yeah.
I mean,
You gotta get on this Egypt.
do you know when the it was outside the empire? What year it ended?
Egypt being
Yeah.
no longer a British protectorate or whatever. I'm
Like the
guessing probably right
40s?
after the war.
Yeah, like in the 40s and stuff when they lost like Jamaica and everything.
Fucking idiots.
In India.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lost all that
Iraq.
shit around then. Yeah.
Palestine. They lost
Yeah.
it all, dude.
Yeah. It is kind of weird that her husband and son both ended up in Iraq and Kuwait. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, they were reincarnated or something.
Yeah.
It was a place to go at the time, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was just like, I got to get away from this lady. She is crazy as shit.
How come nobody's ever pre-incarnated? You know what I mean?
Explain.
How come there's no guy in the 50s going, I'm going to be Elon Musk. It's going to be nuts.
Guess where I'm going.
We never heard about that one fucking time.
They go, yeah, it's true. You drew a shitty truck. No, it's going to be huge.
That's what trucks are going to look
if
like.
we get bonked on the head and our consciousness goes with the flows and
Yeah,
the
well, not
time.
everybody's Dr. Manhattan, you know?
Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you get your kid gets bonked on the head. You're just happy they're not dead, I guess.
For sure.
You're just like, oh,
Ideally.
God, they survived. Thank God.
And then they start
They only
acting
had
up
one
and you go, I
kid.
wish they fucking...
Yeah. They only had one kid, though. But
Yeah.
you got to put all your dreams on
It
that
is
kid.
easy to
Yeah.
forgive everything when you just like, you go like, my kid's going off about banging a mummy and you go like, she had a fall. And everybody goes, oh, okay, no problem. Fine.
Yeah.
You gotta imagine it would... Oh, God, yeah, you're right.
I think Phineas Gage is the guy with the head injury who's
Yeah.
like more famous than her.
Oh,
He's the
yeah,
only
he is
one.
the most famous
Yeah.
head
Most
injury
famous head
case of all
injury, yeah.
time.
Yeah, they never even took the spike out. He didn't spend his whole life.
No,
It was
they
like his
did.
pal, the Spike.
Yeah. Laura, that was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Laura.
you.
Great
I love
job.
you.
I really loved it.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was really
Thank
cool.
you.
Can't believe I've never heard of her.
Yeah.
Really wild.
She's one of the most
Dorothy
eccentric-
Eady.
Yes.
Encyclopedia.com says eccentric, even by British standards.
Even by the standards of British people. These men love dressing up in dresses. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
They love drag.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
All right, shall we get out of here?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm going to say goodnight. I love you. My name is John Fahey.
I am Om Seti.
Diaper soap.
Laura Crawford, your guest.
Good night, everybody. We love you.
Night.
Bye.